SGA once again. Little hesitation. The left hand. What a move by SGA.
Another block. Chet Holmgren, the long arm of the law.
Back in the game. Those are key minutes without SGA. And another drive. J. Dom cocks it back and throws it down.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up? Welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you live Monday, May 26th, Memorial Day, as the Thunder win Game 4 in Minnesota in a classic 128-126 to take a commanding 3-1 series lead in the Western Conference Finals and an opportunity to come home and clinch their NBA Finals berth Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen, live from Nick Crane's Sim House in Florida, America. I have Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
Watch out for the Gators.
Live from an undisclosed home in Norman, Oklahoma, I have Taylor Peterson.
A Memorial Day we certainly will remember, but in all seriousness, shout out to all those who have served. Pretty special day. Saw some really cool posts, and the Thunder got the win on Memorial Day to cap it all off. Pretty awesome.
We got a question out the gate from Jacob Niffen's hair. Did Dave donate last pod? The answer is yes, he did. He hit us with a I think it's called a super thanks when it happens after the show is over. Hit us with the super thanks, and look, here we are sitting here after another Thunder.
So maybe it's
Dave.
the super thanks now and not the super chat.
Wow,
Dave.
They lost Game 3.
Well, the super thanks was the same amount. He did donate a bigger amount, right? And then he lost.
I have no
and then
idea.
He donated.
I can't keep
the same
track.
amount. Dave, we need you to come through, brother. We're here. We're waiting. We're praying.
The chat is rabid for Dave.
Dave, if the Thunder win an NBA title, we're making a Dave shirt.
I love that. I love that. We
Or
also
the
speaking
Patrons.
Speaking of Dave, we have a super chat from David Skelton, who has said this a couple times now. In unison, Nick Crane, no brain, Thunder in 5.
That's a good one.
Smoot says Dave donated 340 when they lost. Every other time it's been 170. Just so we're clear, that is not USD.
Yeah, it is.
That is Monopoly D.
The currency exchange rate is something.
Hey, we're brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and our friends at Prairie Artisan Ales. Check out Taylor's t-shirt from Prairie Artisan Ales. You want to rep a sick OKC Thunder themed shirt and support the best local brewery in Oklahoma City. Go snag this Thunder themed Prairie shirt from the Prairie Tap Room. You can also go catch all the Thunder games at the Prairie Tap Room as well.
I bet Wednesday night's going to be incredible.
Absolutely it is. You can also join our Patreon. You can see that QR code in the top left corner of your screen. Folks, if you've been on the fence or you've thought about like, oh, maybe they're a win away from the finals, you should join the Patreon. That bonus content, the Discord, the community that's in there is some people are saying in there today just how awesome it is to have that community of people who like want to talk hoops and enjoy the games. And I mean, even during the off season, we have so many channels that are not basketball related. So go join the Patreon, follow us on all social media channels, sub to the YouTube channel if you would, please. That would be awesome.
Oh, hey, in the Discord, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can see JB, follower of the podcast, give me the Nick Gallo treatment in a picture. So there you go.
There you go. Gentlemen, I have a statistic that I would like to read you.
Statistics, Holmes.
In tonight's game, Timberwolves led in rebounds. Timberwolves led in assists. I'm just going to say Wolves instead of Timberwolves to shorten this. Wolves led in points off turnovers. Wolves led fast break points. Wolves led points in the paint. Wolves led second chance points. Wolves led free throw attempts and makes. Wolves led in field goal percentage. Wolves led in three-point percentage. Wolves led in free throw percentage. Wolves did not lead in the score on the scoreboard with 0 left on the game clock.
Take
and
that,
all
nerds.
that freaking matters. OKC 128-126. They're one away from the NBA Finals, boys. There's so much we can talk about. We could go so many different directions with this. I think we pull a Bill O'Reilly, we F it and we do it live. I want to start with this. So many incredible performances tonight. The big three in a huge, huge way.
Yes,
There
they
were good
did.
things, there were bad things. There was this, there was that, there was yada, yada, yada. 2 plays that defined this game for me. Shai getting the ISO on Rudy, hitting him with a step back, hezzy drive, pivot, slide into the splits, and hitting a pinpoint nutmeg pass.
Insane.
To the perimeter to Dub.
To the red hot.
And then the other one, and if you watch the ESPN2 broadcast with Legler, he talked a lot about this. Late in the game, Jaden McDonald's tries to drive in on Chet. Chet walls him up on the right side. McDonald's spins back to the left. Chet knew there was only one way to go, goes up, pins it on the glass.
That was
a
huge.
Literal textbook defensive play on a drive. And those 2 plays encompass the big 3, who I think had just an incredible game. You guys keep the super chats coming. We love these.
They're incredible. To your point about
but before you do, I just want to drop this one. Pokedex, latex, unpaid child support checks. Thunder and 5.
To your point about the big 3, a stat from SFNDR, SGA, J-Dub, and Chet combined for 95 points tonight. That's the most an OKC trio has scored in a playoff game, surpassing a 2011 triple overtime game against the Grizzlies where KD, Harden, and Westbrook dropped 94.
I remember that game.
That
crazy
is an insane stat.
Absolutely.
When you think
That's
about
stupid
who's played in Oklahoma City, the playoff series we've had, the playoff wins we've had, the scoring outputs we've had, what we saw tonight was historic for this franchise. And that's saying a lot.
There's so many stats that are coming out of this game. The Timberwolves shot 51.2% and made 18 threes. Before tonight, teams that shot 50% or better from the floor and made 18 plus threes were 55-0 in the playoffs. They're now 55-1.
Take that
because
for
the big
data.
3 showed up. And just, I think you two really nailed it when you did your Saturday post-game pod. Just touching on like, people gave me so much trouble. I know, so much trouble on the previous podcast. When we guys discussed like what that blowout loss meant for this team and how they were going to respond, and they did it, but they did it in such a incredible and important way. I mean, the big 3 stepping up. You had Alex Caruso off the bench with 10 points, which was huge.
Yeah.
He starts in place of iHeart for halftime. Mark Daigneault coached another incredible game, in my opinion. But for them to be able to withstand the Wolves, who had an answer for every single Thunder run. I was there at Paycom for the away watch party or watch along, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was incredible. Great crowd. And those 2 plays, Jacob, you mentioned, got the crowd absolutely fired up. It was loud, which was really impressive. But I kept telling my friend Chance, my neighbor Chance, I was like, this Thunder team cannot get over the 7-point, 9-point barrier. And that continued all through the majority of the game. And they continued to lead the majority of the game. But all the way down to the final stretch, they could not quite get past that, into that double-digit lead. And for the Thunder just to be able to respond to punch after punch from the Timberwolves, to now go up 3-1, there's nothing else you can really do if you're the Wolves. Yeah. I mean, what else do you have to throw?
That felt like their best punch. Their starters didn't play great, but the bench played out of their mind. They're not going to get a bench performance like that ever.
I think if you funnel those points, game 5,
65 bench points, is that right?
Yeah.
To
5.
I want that from the starters.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to pull this up. Got the box score here. Naz Reid had 11 points on 3 of 4. Dante DiVincenzo had 21. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 23.
He was unreal.
Terrence Shannon Jr. had 9. That's Nickeil Alexander-Walker's like Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Those guys were open. The Thunder were aggressively swarming the paint. And I thought Minnesota made a great adjustment to when the Thunder wing defenders that were guarding the corners cheated in to clog the lane. Minnesota back screened those guys to get those corner threes open. I thought it was a great adjustment by Minnesota. And you can't say it almost paid off. It paid off. It
absolutely
created exactly what they wanted it to create. I'll be interested to see how the Thunder adjust from that. There are so many positive things to talk about in this game. Justin, I want to toss this one over to you real quick. I find it so fascinating and really so important, the different lineups and styles and iterations this Thunder team can play. In game one, we talked a lot about Kenrich Williams and how Kenny hadn't played in the first two series. Hey,
Dave.
I love that. Whatever, it doesn't matter what we're saying.
It doesn't matter.
Mid sentence for Dave. Dave coming through again. I was told you guys abandoned me. 7 out of 8 is high percentage shot making, if I say so myself. OKC in 5, calling it.
Love it.
Never abandon you, Dave. We would never, ever abandon you.
Thank you for your service, Dave. Justin, we were talking about in game one how Kenny hadn't played in the first 2 series, came in and was massive in game 1 and gave great minutes in game 2. Flip side of that coin. Besides Alex Caruso, I think you can maybe make an argument that Isaiah Hartenstein was the most important defender for the Oklahoma City Thunder in round 2 against Nikola Jokic. Right?
Agreed.
Like Hartenstein was pivotal. How many minutes did Hart play tonight?
He played.
I got it right here. He
16.
played 16. How do you feel about those 16 minutes, Justin?
I thought they were hunting him in pick and roll. I thought that was probably a big part of why he didn't play more minutes. I thought he rebounded well. I actually thought he was doing a better job on the boards tonight than Chet. Hart with, what is it? 6 rebounds? 6 rebounds in 16 minutes compared to Chet's 7 in 33. I felt like Hart's size was important at times, but overall just wasn't his night for this matchup, for this game, for this Thunder team. Like you said, for this iteration of the lineups they were playing. Offensively, didn't get involved a lot. 1 of 1, which is fine. Better than 0 of 1, I guess. But Chet, what Chet was bringing offensively tonight, spacing the floor, going inside. You mentioned the block earlier. Doing it on both ends. Chet was everything you'd want Chet to be. It wasn't a perfect game from Chet by any means. Like, he still got bullied around on certain possessions, didn't look strong enough on certain possessions, but a pretty awesome performance from Chet overall. And I think that has more to do with the minutes, as well as they played a lot of kind of funky small ball lineups tonight. It's what the game needed, and it got the job done.
So, Jacob, I want you to cap us off on this discussion because I think you have some good thoughts. And that's why you asked that question. But, Justin, I don't think it was just Chet. I mean, we talked last series about how maybe last series against Denver wasn't a Lou Dort series, wasn't an Isaiah Joe series. Maybe this series could be that for them. Unfortunately, it hasn't been for Isaiah Joe. Lou Dort has obviously been better, even though he didn't have a huge game tonight, but I thought he defended really well. My point being, I don't think this is an Isaiah Hartenstein series. And I don't have the stats pulled up in front of me because, again, we're doing a post game and I just came back from the arena. I kind of want to dive into this tonight, into tomorrow and see, but it just seems to me from eye tests, and I'll see if the stats eventually back this up. But every time you play that double big lineup, even in games 1 and 2 where the Thunder were dominant, that's when Minnesota goes on their runs. And that's where, the Thunder go on their runs and are able to capitalize off single bigs and small ball, the death lineup, which we saw more of tonight. And I thought was incredible. Yes.
Definitely feels like the single big series.
Agreed.
I
and
totally
small
agree.
ball. 6 rebounds in 15 minutes. Yes, that's not bad, but only took 1 shot attempt. He looked horrified to shoot the basketball.
It wasn't about the offensive end to me. It was pretty clear to me that one of Minnesota's adjustments was to attack Hartenstein in the pick and roll, specifically to put the ball in shooters' hands, guys who are comfortable shooting off the dribble, bringing a high screen and Rudy Gobert, because Hartenstein constantly dropped in pick and roll defense. So the whoever was the point of attack defender is trying to get over the screen. Hartenstein drops, and the ball handler takes 2 dribbles to the side, gets around the screen, and pulls. We saw that from Mike Conley quite a bit in that first quarter as they were bringing the Rudy screen up to Shai. Hartenstein subbed out pretty quick. I thought in coming back, he had a few nice possessions where they try to put Dort in that pick and roll. And instead of Hartenstein dropping, he hedged and he strung out that play and then ran back to Rudy. And the thing is, if an Rudy Gobert pick and roll ends up with Rudy catching the ball in the short roll, that's a win every single time. I will take that over an Ant contested 3 12 days out of 10.
Because like we saw, you have the Caissons and the Carusos who are able to go battle down low, dig,
and switch down. Yeah, exactly.
Or if it ends up being a foul, guess what? Rudy Gobert.
It's Rudy.
Exactly. The issue is when they're able to drive, like Mike Conley is able to come off that screen, and then that allows or forces one of the Thunder off-ball defenders to be able to or to have to collapse down and test that drive. And the wide open threes like we saw so much of today.
And that's why you play drop, to prevent that drive. I thought Hartenstein really got killed in that whenever he was dropping yet still giving up offensive rebounds to Rudy Gobert. Like, the whole idea of drop defense in the pick and roll is you are giving up one thing, the off the dribble 3, to be really good at the other thing, defending the paint and getting rebounds. And when you're giving up one thing and then you're also not executing the other thing, that's when you got to scrap it. You're going 0 for 2 at that point. And flip side, I think Chet is just so like masterful at playing drop coverage in the pick and roll and kind of playing 2 guys at once with his foot speed and his length. I agree. I think it's a single big series. And I've actually really liked the Kenrich Williams on Rudy Gobert minutes. The only thing is you have to rebound. There was a point in the fourth quarter tonight, gentlemen, where I said if the Thunder lose this game, it is because of offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. I think the first 7 Wolves points of the fourth came off offensive rebounds. All that being said, we just talked about the bad defense in the pick and roll. Let's talk about some good stuff, because there were some badass things in this game.
Yes, we also.
So what do you want to talk about? Oh,
we have some super chats that I think can help guide our conversation. Michael Bush asks, "Did the dam break for J-Dub?"
Should we go to? Should we let Michael Bush's super chat lead us to King of the Prairie?
Yes,
love that idea. Let's do that. King of the Prairie, brought to you by Prairie Artisan Ales. Highly recommend
by Michael Bush.
And by Michael Bush. Highly recommend going to check out Prairie OKC for Game 5 on Wednesday. Whether you're popping in for a drink before you head over to Paycom, grab a $3 pour, or you want to hang out with some Thunder fans and watch it together, great spot to enjoy Thunder playoff basketball.
Justin, who's your King of the Prairie?
Who's my King of the Prairie? It could be literally anyone of the big 3, and that would be a justifiable answer. But like Michael Bush alluded to, I'm going with J-Dub. 34 points, 13 of 24 from the floor, 6 of 9 from behind the arc, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals. I thought Dub looked phenomenal. Dub looked aggressive.
-2.
And a -2, because why not?
Plus minus is a team stat.
There it is. I love the live sounders tonight. Dub was phenomenal. Confident from behind the 3-point arc, like no hesitation, aggressive, driving to the basket, strong finishes in the lane, good midi pull-ups that looked, in the flow of the offense. Defensively continued to be a nightmare. Given some of the narrative surrounding this guy about this time last series, it's been incredibly impressive to watch him rebound, literally and figuratively, and put together the performance like he has in this series. Just absolutely phenomenal. So J-Dub is my King of the Prairie.
Before we move on, I do think we need to hit this next super chat, Justin. The rest of the chat is worried
as you take a drink.
From Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
Dave.
Dave said, I thought how Dub and Chet played this game is the future of OKC offense. We may be expecting them doing stuff like that on a regular basis next season. Giannis trade my
behind.
I actually love that comment. And I think that's something we can kind of say when we get into the big three as well.
People have said that Dave has jinxed it, and then people are saying that Dave needs to donate one more time to unjinx it.
Wow. People are
We're
exploiting
asking a lot
Dave.
of Dave.
People are exploiting Dave.
Tonight, with like a minute and a half left, I said they're coming home to close this thing out in game 5. And then that game got real close down the edge.
Real close.
And I was like, oh my gosh, did I just ruin this?
Why'd you say that?
And I was told, you don't have that kind of power. And I believe that of everybody except for Dave.
Except for Dave.
I believe Dave has that kind of power.
I agree.
Dave is the oracle.
I agree.
Justin, best, all things considered, best dub game in the playoffs?
Yes, easily.
Best dub game of his career?
I mean, given the importance, I feel like it has to be.
And the response. I think you nailed it, Justin, when you talked about the response that he's had all playoffs. Such a stark contrast to what all the fans were talking about. Dub struggles in the second round last year against the Mavericks. And he's had some poor games, especially the one 2 nights ago that we watched in Minnesota game 3.
Everyone had a poor game in that game.
Correct. It was not just by any means, but my point being, what incredible growth from J-Dub. And look, there's been times this playoffs when he's had some wide open shots that he's just completely missing. And I keep thinking, especially when you see pictures of him off the court, walking to the jet, to head to Minnesota, and he has this like wrap on his hand and wrist.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, Dub's gonna have an offseason surgery on this wrist, and he's just not 100%. And then he has games like tonight and games like he did against Denver, game 7, that just completely put that to rest. Dub was incredible. I think given the stakes, it is his best game of his career. 34 points, 13 and 24 from the floor, and 6 of 9 from 3. It's been a long time since we've seen that number. So critical for this team. And then 3 steals as well. Just did it on both ends. Dub was absolutely fantastic.
Unreal. Who's your king of the Prairie, TP?
Yeah, no, I'm giving it to J-Dub because of everything I just said, but I guess I'll just say the honorable mention, Prince of the Prairie, and it's so insane and asinine that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a career playoff high. He matched Michael Jordan in a regular season and playoffs in a single seasons for most 30-plus games between both playoffs and regular season. Had 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 rebound away from a triple-double, and we're not getting him King of the Prairie.
Another super chat from Luke Beal, who said, I didn't realize Shai almost had a triple-double.
1 rebound away, 2 of 7 from 3.
Hey, Taylor, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Didn't somebody at the start of this series make a prophecy that Shai was going to have a triple-double this series?
Was that you?
You're god dang right it was me.
So close.
1 rebound.
Too bad he didn't.
So close.
In game 5.
Just like the Wolves. So close. Just like the Grizzlies, according to a Grizzlies fan after this game. So close that Josh doesn't get hurt.
J-Dub in the fourth quarter tonight. 14 points on 71% from the field. 2 of 3 threes. A rebound, 2 assists, and a steal.
14 points on 89% true shooting for Dub, 9 points on 90% true shooting from Chet, 11 on 65% true shooting from Shai, all in the fourth quarter. The big
Shai
three
had
game.
11, 3, and 3.
Okay, 3.
So good.
I know the Thunder don't like hearing that because
well, Taylor went Shai as the Prince of the Prairie. So then I'll take my. It just makes sense. There's 3 of us. There's a Thunder big 3. So Chet's my King of the Prairie tonight.
Let's talk about Chet.
Chet's final line tonight, 21 points on 9 of 14, 50% from 3, 7 rebounds and assists, a steal, 3 blocks. I thought this was an incredible Chet game. All things considered, his fourth quarter was freaking awesome. Chet played 33 minutes. I know the Thunder did want to go small ball tonight, which I loved. But I thought that his minutes were incredible. I thought his impact was incredible. And I thought down the stretch in the fourth, he really kind of steadied the ship. I wish that 1-3, his toe was just, it was a Halliburton KD 3. But still an awesome night from Chet. I didn't know this. I think it was the Oklahoman who wrote a story about this. Do you guys know there's a Lifetime Fitness below Target Center? And
I just saw that.
That's where Chet grew up playing pickup.
That's amazing.
And Chet won a state title every year in high school, and all 4 were won in that Target Center.
That's
so
super
for
cool.
him to come home, have that kind of game into game 4,
awesome.
to possibly bring it home, to close it out, to go to an NBA Finals, just very poetic for him.
It's insane.
You mentioned the block, Jacob, that he had. Like I mentioned, Paycom, who were there for the watch along, just went crazy. I mean, Chet had so many huge moments, as the entire Big Three did in tandem. Guys, I just got to say it. We used to say it when Chet was injured. This team doesn't have Chet yet. Chet fit in so perfectly, and it's weird to call his game tonight a complimentary role because it was so much louder than that, so much more impactful than that. It deserves more credit than that.
Yep.
My point being is he knew what the game asked of him when J-Dub and Shai had it going, especially offensively. He fit in perfectly alongside them.
He never forces. None of them do.
But we saw what Chet looked like pre-injury coming off that offseason. There's going to be games next year, and book it, where Chet's the J-Dub or the Shai in this instance, and it's J-Dub or Shai fitting in that third role. And that's what makes his team so incredibly dangerous. Chet's just scratching the surface.
Agreed.
And they're 1 game away from the finals. Justin, can we hit some supers?
We sure can. We have a lot of confidence oozing out of the super chats tonight, as I would expect. Let's see.
I've been oozing all night.
Gross.
We haven't had very many. There you go.
Kaylee Bruce says McDaniels, McDonald's, Thunder in 5.
You're dadgum right, Kaylee.
Did you just pull that out of thin air earlier?
I think I said it earlier in the game too.
Okay.
When's the last? Oh, you eat McDonald's a lot, Justin.
Wow.
Well, no, you talk about how your children want to eat McDonald's all the time. So
it is my children's favorite restaurant, and it is unavoidable.
Without context, that was funny though.
I haven't eaten McDonald's in years.
I hadn't either until I had kids. What'd you say?
I said the little chicken strips, the new chicken strips, don't look bad.
Yeah, they're pretty good actually.
Done talking about McDonald's. Give us money, McDonald's.
Nick says, I'm assuming not our Nick. Nick says playoff experience matters. Game 1 versus Denver paid dividends tonight. The fouling up 3 scenarios looked much, much better than they did in Denver game 1. And then he goes on to say the growth in real time has been insane. So proud of the coaching staff and the players.
I talked a lot tonight about at the end of that game. I was like, man, remember how bad they botched game 1, fouling up 3? Let's see how they execute here.
I thought it was a masterclass tonight. They executed it perfectly. The timing was perfect. And other than that, Broseph catching the ball in the front row, it went off without a hit.
Should never be able to. Public execution should be brought.
Oh,
that play by Shai to die, it was a foul on Dante DiVincenzo. Should have been whistled. But for Shai to have the wherewithal, not to try to pass to somebody and get it stolen, but just heave it. If he just would have thrown it another foot in the air, then the time expires and the game is over. But still, what a great spur of the moment decision by Shai.
Yep. Agreed.
Incredible.
One more waiting from our guy, Allen. I'm 100% sure it's over. That OKC crowd's going to be freaking insane, and our role players will bring it. I'm so proud of our big 3. They came out to play.
Game 5 is going to be...
It's going to be psychotic.
Dude, it's a Wednesday night. Like, don't matter.
My brother...
Oklahomans are... I bought tickets today to go to game 5. I'm going...
Nice.
I am not missing a game where they can close out and go to the NBA Finals.
So my mom and my brother Hayden both got online when tickets went live, and somehow one of them got in, and so we were able to get tickets for Game 5, which is also at Thunder face value.
That's awesome.
But Hayden brought up a good point in our family group text. And he said, man, my favorite Thunder memory to this day, and we've been blessed to have a lot, but was when we were at Game 6, 2012 Western Conference Finals, and at the time of Chesapeake, where they beat the Spurs to make it to the finals.
Taylor's living in the future.
2012.
2012.
That would be 2022 for those of you who aren't good at math.
2012.
Classic.
You heard it here first. Take it to Vegas.
Hey,
20,
I'm gonna get that
32,
tathued. I'm gonna
20,
get that
32,
tattooed.
NBA
Right there.
Thunder are winning
championship.
Game 6
Yep.
put the money down. I've
against
seen
the
the
San
future.
Antonio Spurs.
I've seen the future, but that was even like game 1 of the finals that year in 2012. I thought that Western Conference Finals, when the Thunder closed it out, was the loudest sporting event I've ever been to, including these past couple of rounds. I cannot wait for Wednesday. I think Paycom's going to bring it. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be awesome.
So good.
I
So
was
good.
told there'd be no math.
Any other supers we need to hit, Justin?
No, that is it.
Awesome. What an incredible game. Like I thought one thing that was really fun. My first thought was there's going to be an online narrative about this, but late in the game when out of a timeout, Shai's on the bench and they went the lineup of the 5-man unit that was trained by Hamas, just a wreak tear on everybody. Payson, Dort, J-Dub, Caruso, and Chet. And they did give up like a layup.
That was very disappointing.
Yeah, that possession should have ended with somebody on the other team like with a broken leg.
Yeah.
That defensive lineup is insane.
I loved throwing it out there. There was quite a few interesting lineups like that. To your point, Jacob, about narratives. How about Oklahoma City not shooting a free throw in the third quarter?
Yeah.
The Timberwolves shooting more free throws than the Thunder. What else? What else doesn't fit the narrative that Doris Burke and others are trying to push down our
I
throats?
stopped watching Doris Burke.
I love Doris, but man,
so do I, but she needs to
Yeah.
chill.
tough.
I tweeted this out. That's coming from the executives of ESPN. They're so worried about ratings, and it's about social media engagement now, right?
They're trying to be in the zeitgeist.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I think we need to talk about the big three.
Luke named that lineup that you just referenced, Jacob, the lineup of terrorism and despair.
Luke, I like it. I like it. We've talked about the big three, and rightfully so. They were incredible tonight. But I think we also need to talk about the Bash brothers off the bench.
Yes.
Dude, Cason Wallace, people will say this phrase, and it's just kind of a thing you say, and I think it is very, very, very legitimate. We are watching the kid grow game by game by game.
Yes.
His
on the biggest stage, Jacob.
Bro.
The biggest stage.
Those two off the dribble, like step back middies, were
So
just
confident.
pure. And I've never seen Cason shoot that shot before.
No.
Cason is like exclusively a
I said
dunks
the
and
same
three
thing.
guy, and for him, those shots were incredible. Cason Wallace tonight, 28 minutes, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block.
Unreal.
Just everywhere. Does he have the best hands on the team?
Oh, absolutely.
Feels that way.
I mean,
You can't dribble around him, dude.
No.
He's
He's like a black hole.
you can't pass around him either.
feels a little
His
racist.
hands are a magnet.
Come on.
He was phenomenal tonight. And then his counterpart, the white hole, I don't like that nearly as much. I'm not going to say that again.
Yikes.
Alex
I'm leaving.
I feel
I'm shutting down the podcast immediately.
33 minutes for AC tonight, 10 points, 2 rebounds and assists, 2 steals, and 4 of 7 from 3. Queso got those. Not Queso. Caruso got, was it 2 or 3 of those backdoor cuts and those little reverse layups that they didn't have an answer for. They couldn't guard it because they were so focused elsewhere on the floor.
Yep.
Black hole in the back door, huh?
Stop. Oh my God.
At least he wasn't the asshole like Anthony Edwards.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Luke is calling them cookies and cream, which I love.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've seen that nickname going around. It's solid. They're incredible.
Maybe a future shirt design.
Caruso just makes so many smart plays and like stuff that this is not new commentary, but like stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Little things like tipping a ball out that was clearly going to a Timberwolves player and being able to muck it up just enough that the Thunder can get their hands on it.
Taylor.
cleaning up missed shots, like you said, the little turnarounds. Just he does everything. He is everywhere all the time. He's phenomenal.
I think that's the most exciting thing about watching Kaysen is that he continues to bring the same. I mean, he's become essential. I think it was Andrew Schlecht who tweeted that out. You have to keep Kaysen on the floor, which Mark has been doing. 27 minutes and 33 for Caruso, 27 for Kaysen off the bench, which was critical. Kaysen continues to bring that defensive intensity. He's the guy when Lou Dort's in foul trouble like he was tonight that you can throw out there and just feel confident, especially when he's playing alongside Caruso. Obviously, the three-point shooting hasn't quite been there this series. He hit one big one in the first half, but he was being left open. It was only 1 of 5 from 3. Obviously, you want to see that improve. But then he hits those two critical, like Jacob said, the spin, like fadeaways there in that fourth quarter. Yeah. His offensive improvement and just his improvement in general from game to game is so exciting. Like, it's to the point now. Jacob mentioned, next regular season wanting to see him start. I agree. I also kind of want to see what he can do running the second unit. Is that crazy? Like alongside J-Dub, like a co-tandem thing.
Alongside Topic, you mean?
That's also a good point. This team's stacked.
Justin, you have been the guy on the podcast to talk about the shooting. You always talk about the shooting.
We're always talking about shooting.
That
yes
sounds like the national media.
Wow.
Welcome to America. I'm on one tonight. I'm sorry.
You're on something. I'm not sure what.
So
yes, what's your question, sir?
You said that Minnesota would like hit shots at home.
Correct, and they have.
They absolutely have.
Alexander Walker and as JD calls him, the leprechaun, had themselves some games tonight. Dante DiVincenzo is the leprechaun, not Nikhil, just for the record. Yes. Dante DiVincenzo, if there is a remake of Luck of the Irish, Dante DiVincenzo stars the villain. But the Thunder tonight,
great movie.
The Thunder tonight, 43% from 3. A big chunk of that comes from J-Dub's 6 of 9.
Nice.
Shai only 2 of 7. Chet 2 of 4. Lou 1 of 3. Kenrich 1 of 2. Caruso a good 2 of 5. Isaiah Joe 1 of 2. Kaysen struggled 1 of 5 as well. Shooting variance night. Better shot selection. The stats progressing back to the mean, and maybe this is a pendulum swing.
I sure hope it's that one.
How do you feel about this?
I think it's a shooting variance night, but you need those every now and then. The Thunder, but coming into tonight, are shooting 26% from deep in the playoffs on the road. That's awful. It's awful. It's not anywhere near where they shot in the regular season. It's not good enough to win a lot of games, and that is why they have dropped a few on the road. Tonight was an anomaly. I think what you said of like, is this the progression to the mean? Is this the turning over of a leaf? Like, I would love to think that. I would need more than one game to be convinced of that. Mm-hmm. Teams typically shoot better at home, especially role players. We've seen that from Minnesota. They shot the lights out in both home games. I would not expect DiVincenzo and Nah and guys like that to go off in Oklahoma City on Wednesday night. That would be a breaking of the norm. I think wherever the Thunder's playoff games take them next, they're going to need more nights like this. We've seen other teams not have the same struggles. The Pacers love nothing more than to score on the road. They've done it in every series so far. So if that's where this road leads, the Thunder are going to need more opportunities from guys like J-Dub tonight on the road. We need an Isaiah Joe game on the road. We need a Lou Dort game on the road. Like, those guys can get hot. They're just not doing it on the road in the playoffs right now.
So that's exactly my thought, Justin. If you would have told me before this series, when we were doing our series preview podcast here almost a week ago, that the Thunder shot 43.2% on 37 free throw attempts, I would have told you that Lou Dort had a handful of those, and Dub probably had a smaller amount, but was probably 50%, and Chet was probably where he was at 2 of 4. Shai probably had 3 or 4, and Isaiah Joe, somebody off the bench got hot. But that wasn't the case. Like, it was so weird. 6 of 9 from J-Dub, like we talked about. 2 of 4 from Chet, only 2 of 7 from Shai. Then you get a very dispersed, let's see, 5 3-point attempts off the bench for the Thunder. Like, it wasn't one player or two players. That's what's so interesting about this. I don't think the Thunder are going to sustain that. But what's so impressive about tonight and this series and the Denver series is what this team is showing is they will beat you in different ways, no matter what you throw at them, even if it results in a loss or 2 in a series.
Smoot is asking us to jump in. I think maybe this is where we can end the show at. Just with the Thunder defense, they did give up 126 points. Again, the Minnesota bench just had they
went off
freaking lives.
Yep.
But 2 stat lines that I just think are incredible for us to read right now. Julius Randle, 28 minutes, 5 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 5 turnovers. Before the season or this series started, I thought Julius Randle was a guy to target to get turnovers. But if you would read that stat line to me for a Julius Randle game, I would be shocked in this series, considering what he did the first 2 playoff series.
Exactly,
guys. I think that also just goes to show they didn't really play anybody in the first 2 playoff series.
Not defensively.
Nick Crane, I know you're going to yell at me about LeBron and Luka Doncic. I could probably put up 30 on Luka. So,
well,
Anthony Edwards. I would just I would lightly jog and I would outrun Luka Doncic down the court. And Edwards, 16 points, 5 of 13 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, also 5 turnovers. Ant got loose in game 3.
Yeah,
tonight
everyone got loose in game 3.
Yeah. Every other game, Ant has shot so horribly from the 3-point line. The Thunder are crowding him out there. They're not giving him those open looks. The ones he's making, the one he made tonight, coming off of the dribble, top of the key, and a
critical moment too.
A Chet closeout, and he splashes it. Like, that's a great shot.
Yep.
But that's a tough shot to make.
Right.
I mean, kudos to him for making it, but they're not giving him any easy looks from 3, and he just can't find a rhythm from out there. There was a stat on the ESPN2 broadcast that Ant averages like 29 points a game at home in the playoffs, and Ant's numbers in game 4s are like insane. And he was, I mean, especially the first half, guys, it's like he wasn't even out.
He had 4 points in the first half, right?
Off of like 3 or 4 shots.
Yep.
Like he didn't exist, but I thought
they've sold out.
The bench guys got loose. I thought the Denver adjustment of back screening to get those bench guys corner 3s was a great adjustment.
Yep.
But the point of attack defense from Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, and Cason Wallace, the small on big defense with Naz Reid and Julius Randle. The Thunder are just getting at it. The amount of turnovers they forced tonight was super important in this game. 21.
Wild that the Timberwolves outscored the Thunder on points off turnovers.
I know. I was going to bring that up
because they had like half as many.
Right. That's
pretty
Thunder
wild.
did struggle there in transition. And thankfully, they were able to find some answers in the half-court offense, which we talked about with some of the three-point shooting and the self-creation.
Yep.
But 2 thoughts there to run by you guys. And Justin, I'll start with you because I just cut you off. Sorry. One thing I was saying to Chance when we were driving home, I said, if you would have told me that the Thunder held Julius Randle 5 points on 1 of 7 shooting and Ant on 16 to 5 of 13 shooting, I would have told you if the Thunder won this game by 20 plus.
Yeah. Right.
Obviously, for all the reasons we talked about, all the other stats, as well as the role players stepping up like they did, that wasn't the case. Then my second thought is I get frustrated with Mark and the coaching staff just thinking they can continuously play this math game of, yes, we leave wide open corner 3s on purpose, but eventually, and we're going to take the 3-point shots that we take because, our internal stats show that those are great shots to take. But you're in the playoffs. Like, it's a 7-game series. It's not 82. Eventually, you got to go away from some of that. And yet, it worked out again. And I kind of like how
Mhm.
the Thunder like just locked in on Ant and Julius and made the role players beat them, because I don't think you're going to be able to pull it off again if you're the Wolves. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Statistics, Holmes. It's all about sample size. And at this point, the Thunder sample size from that strategy is getting pretty big. To your point, variance can swing quite a bit in a 7-game series because that's not a huge sample size. I think we saw a little bit of that in the Denver series too, but it does work. And I think that tonight was a great example of that. Tonight was probably a pretty extreme example of that because of how well the Timberwolves' other guys shot. They sold out to stop Randall and Ant, and they did so. There was a few plays in the second half where Ant got loose a little bit and was not just scoring, but facilitating, but in general, completely ineffective on the floor. Julius Randle, completely ineffective on the kind of invisible on the floor for most of the game. Like you said, Jacob, if you had told me that coming into the series, I'm not sure I would have believed you because he looked phenomenal. The Thunder erased him from the game and have put the game in the hands of Na and DiVincenzo and McDaniels and Naz Reid. And where would you rather have that lie? In the hands of Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards, or in the hands of everybody else?
Exactly.
And that's the strategy. And I think tonight's a great example of it.
Close out on corner threes a little better.
Absolutely. There's an execution piece of it too, right? There's an execution piece of it. And I thought I'm glad you brought it up, Jacob, because it caught my eye too. The back screening on corner threes, I thought was a great adjustment from Minnesota. If you're going to play us this way, we're going to slip a screener in there. And now when you try to hustle back and close out on a corner three, you're going to meet a brick wall, and you're not going to be able to. And they did that a lot with great success. I would expect Oklahoma City to have a counter for that in Game 5.
Absolutely. Also, we saw a lot of Denver zone in Game 2. Haven't really seen it since. They got killed in that zone over and over. And so it's led to a lot of man. And they've been switching a bit, and that led to a lot of Rudy Gobert on Shai and J-Dub tonight, which was just food.
Yep.
Had to be.
I am curious if we see more of that Game 5.
What, the zone or the man or the switch? If they want to run zone, please. That is an absolute win for Oklahoma City. All right, gentlemen, we've been podcasting for 50 minutes. As we get out of here, 3-1 series lead coming back to Oklahoma City Wednesday night. Justin, what does Oklahoma City Thunder need to do Wednesday night to win the game and punch their ticket to the NBA Finals?
If you've ever wanted to see someone commit to the bit and stick to it, they need to make shots.
Yes.
Because you know who's probably not going to? All the guys from Minnesota that made shots tonight. So if the Thunder come in to the Paycom Center and make shots in Game 5, I think it's going to look a lot closer to Game 1 than it will to Game 5.
Taylor, what needs to happen Wednesday night for the Thunder to punch their ticket to the NBA Finals?
Tonight, they forced 21 turnovers against the Wolves and had 25 points off those turnovers, but had 14 of their own and 22 points off those turnovers for Minnesota. And like Justin mentioned earlier in the podcast, Wolves had 13 fast break points and the Thunder only had 5. They found a way tonight to win the half court. But Game 5, in front of your home crowd, who's ready for you to go back to the finals again for the first time since 2012, you got to ride that wave, get those steals and deflections, get into passing lanes, and run out and transition. I sound like a broken record as well, Justin. I've said this for 2 seasons now. Get out and transition, ride your defense, and that's how you're going to be able to beat the Timberwolves and get back to the finals.
Mine is I think pretty simple. We saw what the Wolves did when their backs were against the wall in Game 3. Quote unquote backs against the wall. This is now when your backs are actually against the wall. Because if you lose a game, your season is over. Right? If they lost Game 3, season's still not done. It takes 4 to win a series. Thunder have 3 now. Wednesday is Wolves back against the wall for real. They're going to come out with that energy. Can you survive that storm? I think of Game 7 against Denver. the Thunder closed the last 3 or 4 minutes of the half on like a 14-4 run and never looked back. I've said it all year. The Thunder have this gear that they can put the car in that no other team in the NBA can do. It's 2016, 2017 Warriors-esque, except where the Warriors did it with threes, the Thunder do it with defense. If the Thunder can find that gear for a 4 to 5 minute stretch Wednesday, if they can just weather the Wolves storms, keep it in that, like, either team is up by 5 and then hit one of those 4 to 5 minute stretches, the game is over.
Agreed.
And you're going to the NBA Finals.
Insane.
Thank you guys for listening to the Uncontested Podcast. We'll be back with you Wednesday night, either talking about Oklahoma City heading back to Minnesota on Friday, or talking about this team punching their ticket to the NBA Finals for the first time in 13 years since that 2012 Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden team. Folks, 2012. Taylor just doesn't even get it. He's
2022. Yeah.
There's a new big 3 in town, and they are 1 win away, folks. Have a great Tuesday. Bask in this one a bit. Watch the highlights. Just enjoy it. Listen to some podcasts. Zach Lowe will probably drop pretty soon. That'll be fun. We will see you guys Wednesday night, right back here on YouTube. Sub to the channel. Come hang out with us live. And I'm calling it, boys. We're going to party Wednesday
calling
night. We're partying Wednesday
Careful.
night.
Let's go.
Until then, and as always, Thunder up. Thank you, Dave.
Thunder up and go Knicks tomorrow.